everybody, we're back in the studio again today, and today we're going to paint a lion, and I hope you guys like this. It should be a lot of fun. I love lions. I'm a Leo. I don't know if that makes a difference, but I certainly like painting them, and this one will be fun to do. So hopefully you'll enjoy our painting today, and we'll see what happens if it turns out the way I want it to. So anyways, I hope that you look at the bottom, the information at the bottom. There's some extra information in there besides what's on the video. There'll be some information there about the painting and some of my extra sites and things like that. You might want to take a look at that. And I hope that you also give me a thumbs up. We want those thumbs up. That you would like and subscribe. We'd like the likes as well. And if you want to get any more if you want to know when I am actually doing a video or posting a video, why don't you hit that little bell down there and it'll tell you exactly when I upload. I try to put one up every week. Sometimes it's a little harder for me to get that done, but with the editing and things like that, my editing software is quite cumbersome. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to get our gesso. I'm going to get in the way here. We have to do a black canvas. So I like the Bob Ross gesso. I just like the way it goes on. It does a nice job, and it dries kind of fast too. So we're going to use some black gesso. I'm going to get that out on my palette. And there's Sally. How's Sally doing? My little Sally girl. She's come to join me in the studio. So I'm putting that gesso out on my canvas. My palette. And this is just straight up. We're just going to do this straight up. And I have an old brush that I'm going to use. I don't even know the size of it, but it's an old brush. And you don't want to use a new brush for this. Just use an old brush. Just apply. All right, we have this all painted. Now we're just going to dry it. And what I'll be back. I'll have it all drawn on. What you'll need to do when you draw this on, you'll need white graphite paper, and I will post the pattern on Patreon for $1 a month. You can access any pattern there, and I think we'll be good. So shall we get started with that? I'm going to close down my recording right now because I have to dry this and everything. So oops, kind of got that a little wet. So we'll dry it and we'll be right back. Oh, by the way, when you dry, don't dry it on hot because that does something to the acrylic paint. You want to dry it on a low setting, like a cool setting. If your hair dryer or your little handheld dryer is on hot, get rid of the hot. You do it on a low setting. Okay, I just wanted to show you when you do the tracing, how you do this. I always anchor it down with some tape. You can use painter's tape or artist tape. It's up to you, the type that you want to use. And then I just use a stylus. Now, when you have a pattern like this, you can also use a red pen, because when you use the red pen, then you kind of know where you did your work, like when you traced it. So I use a stylus because I use these patterns several times. So if you would like to do it that way with the stylus, I use this. And I don't use a real fine point. I use the heavier point because this one here has a little bit of a heavier, because I don't want to poke through things. Even when you're tracing, you don't want to push on it too hard, because then you're going to go right through your canvas. And this one here is, gallery wrapped, so I don't want to poke holes in my canvas. If you have a canvas board, it's a little different. But if you have one of these kind, you don't want to, use something that's going to poke right through. So if you like, maybe I can just go along here with you, and we can just do this. I will speed up the video so that you don't have to watch me do the whole thing, but at least you can get the idea of what I do at times instead of actually drawing it on. And this is not cheating, so don't worry. If someone says that this is cheating, say, well, it's not cheating, because if you can't draw, you need to have some kind of a guide for yourself. So this is the guide. I mean, I could probably draw this, but I choose not to, because this is a lion and I want to make sure that I get this correct. So I will speed it up from here on. Okay, right now I'm going to check to see if I have missed anything, and I'm not taking this all the way off. I'm just going to check. I think we have everything there. It looks good. Okay, so once you've checked it, then you can take off your pattern and your tracing graphite paper. Alright, graphite paper next. Make sure it's nice and neat. I did forget one little part here, but I don't think it's going to be a big deal. It's just the lip here. And I can put that on with some charcoal pencil here. Like that. Just charcoal pencil is best. I'm going to put another one right here too, just to give me a little more of his mane. Okay, we're good there. Alright, so now we can get started with our painting part. We've got our image traced. We've got all the details in that we need. And we're going to go to first, we're going to start out, we're going to use a round brush, and we're going to mix some of our yellow oxide. Now, this is yellow oxide. This is kind of like yellow ochre. That's what it reminds me of. So, I have this large yellow oxide, and I'm going to put that out on my palette. Just making sure that I do not have any of my black gesso in the way. I'll put this over here out of the way. Alright, so let me get some of this yellow oxide, and we're going to mix a small amount of phthalo blue. We're going to put in there. We're just going to use a little bit. We're going to pull out some of this, and then we're going to get our phthalo blue. Now, I have phthalo blue in the Utrecht line. And I'm going to put some of that out on my palette. Okay, that's what we're going to paint his eyes in. Okay, so we're going to use a round brush, and we are going to mix a small amount of phthalo blue, and we're going to into our yellow oxide. Now we're just going to pull some of that out with our brush, or you can use a palette knife depending on how you feel. It's up to you. Maybe I'll use a palette knife to mix it. Just a small amount. And it gives me a nice kind of a greenish shade, because yellow and blue make green. And I just used a small amount in here. And this is the shade I got. So it's a green shade. Now I have my little round brush. It's a number 2 round brush. And let's see. So we're going to use this to paint the irises. So we're going to go around here. Make sure here I got that. Okay. Irises are the part around the eye. And we're probably going to have to, it's kind of wet, watery like. That's okay, we can make another coat on here. So we want to make sure we paint that very carefully. Very carefully. Okay. Alright, I'm going to rinse out my brush. Okay. And I am going to put a little bit of let's see, I'm going to put some white in there. Wipe off my palette knife. Put a little white in there. I'm going to put a little of my white, which is like, I used the Basics white. And then I'm going to use this chrome yellow, which is a Craftsmart paint, just because I don't have a chrome yellow. I mean, I think you could use, and I might just use this actually, because those are a little bit light. I'm going to use the Basics, and this is Cad Yellow Medium. I'm going to put a part of that in there. Okay, one part. And we are going to put, well, actually it's 2 parts I'm going to put in there, I'm sorry. And put more of the yellow oxide in there and mix it. So this is going to get a little lighter now. I'm going to put a little bit more of my yellow, my Basics Cad Yellow Medium. Just a little bit more in here. This has to be a little lighter. Alright. Now we're going to use the same brush, and this is your color. Use the same brush, and we're going to paint the bottom of this. Just the bottom. It's going to be a little lighter. Kind of blend it in. I have too much paint on my brush here. Okay. Now I'm going to just mix a little bit more of that yellow ochre or yellow oxide with my phthalo blue so I can get the top part again. Just a little bit more. It's actually supposed to be darker. I want to blend that in. This has to be a little darker in through here. Just blend it into that. There should be somewhat of a difference, so I'm going to put a little bit more blue into my yellow Kind of make it a nice dark green. There we go. Now this looks really a lot better. We always do the eyes. You kind of like to do the eyes first because it's kind of gives you a start on the actual lion, gives it a little bit of depth. So let us go to now. We're going to make some burnt umber with some red, and we're going to get a nice color there for that. So I've got burnt umber and Utrecht. We're going to mix equal parts, if I can open it, 4 parts. So this is going to be a big glob because we're going to need more of it. Oh boy, that's hard to open. Okay, so I'm going to mix 4 parts of burnt umber, and we're going to mix 4 parts of this Venetian red, and that's a social artworking paint. And it has a really nice shade in there. It's sort of like a brick red almost. Alright, so we're going to mix those two. And we get a really pretty reddish brown. And this is the shade. Very nice color. Very nice color. Very nice shade of reddish brown. Alright, so what we're going to do with that is we are going to paint around the face. We're going to put the hair in. And we're going to do the inside of the ears with that. So let's get that started. And I'm going to use, let's see, I am thinking we're going to still use the round brush. I would like to use a different brush actually. And I would like to use my number 2 flat. This is a number 2 flat. And I'm going to use that instead. So what we're going to do is just paint inside here. The ears. And I'm just taking the paint off of my palette knife. And we're going to get all these hairs painted. But I kind of like using my flat brush because I can get more feathery, a feathery look. And I'm starting from the face outward, and I'm just painting over some of these lines here. You're going to just kind of wisp them out. Just follow the curves of the tracing here. Just follow the curves. He's starting to shape up a little bit. I love how the paint turns out on these canvases that are black. They just look so nice. Kind of got an S going here. The mane of his mane. I'm going to get above his ears. Make sure you get all your tracings covered. That's just a guideline just to give you an idea of what way the hair is growing. Gives you the idea. Make sure you let some of the black show through. Don't overdo. You know, you just want to get that indication that that's hair. Get those lines covered up. Too much paint on my brush. Then I'm holding my flat like vertically as I paint. I'm not holding it flat because that's how I'm getting the wispiness. Little hairs. Make sure you get that one covered. This one too. Now we're going to leave a little space here of black. We're going to come down here. Trying to cover up my lines here. Cool. Wish you could see this really in person because it really looks nice. You know, you start to see this come alive. That's what I like. And you can see it come alive. Getting there. Getting there. Just let it flow. Let it flow naturally, you know, like hold your brush back. You're not painting close. You're painting far away from, like you're holding your brush this way. Because if you get close, then it doesn't turn out as nice. You want that flow. It's a flow, an actual flow. Make sure you cover up your lines. Sometimes it takes a couple little passes on that just to cover it up. This is interesting. Like, I don't know why I like lines. I've painted lines before, and I've done them in pastel. I actually sold that painting, but they're just so majestic. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't want to get close to one, you know, out in the areas where they are, but they just always appear so majestic. They just amaze me. Alright, now we're going to go into our yellow oxide, and we're going to just use the yellow oxide to paint the face. So I'm going to get my yellow oxide. We're going to paint in the face. Now that's the yellow oxide that is from DecoArt. I can give you the link for that. I think we have it on Amazon. I know that that's where I get my Bob Ross paint. So this is going to be kind of chunky looking, but what you want to do is just kind of like go through here just with the yellow oxide, just to get the paint onto the face. Maybe leave a little bit of room here for the eyebrow. Just want to coat it in here. Kind of leave some spaces where these marks are. Just leave some spaces in between. Go out here. Want to leave a little bit of dark in through here. Kind of leave a little space here, but you can't come up to the eye here. I'm still using that number 4 flat, because I can have more of a control here of what I'm doing. Goes right down to the eye. And I am going to get a little bit of my black gesso and kind of color in here where that black line was. And you can do that. You can use that as a little bit of a paint just to get that where those lines were on the lion. I think that went down straight to that. This will cover, you know, this will kind of give you the idea where you should be as far as like getting those. You don't want to go into that. And I'm just using a number, like this was a, I don't know which size this was, but it's a flat, and I just am using that to get some of those black lines back in there again. We certainly don't want to make this harder than it should be. Give it a little personality here. Once again, we're going around that, and then we'll put some black in again. We'll do that. And we want to see some of that black canvas show through. That kind of gives it a little dimension. And I'm thinking I should get closer here with some of that color also that we mixed before, the Venetian red. We're going all around this. We're going to leave some area here. And we're going to some of it comes down here. And I want to get a little closer with some of my Venetian red mix also. This is kind of a little bit like hairy, you know, just make it a little strokey there. Now, if you feel better using a larger brush, you can also do that. I'm using the smaller one so I can get around all those little areas, like here at the nose. I need to keep that. Like I said, you can always use more of your gesso to fill in areas that need filled in. Yes, we're doing that also. Like up in here. So let me get a larger flat. Let's see. That I can use to paint in like that I want to. Let's see. I think that's a little too big. I think we could use this one here. It's a 3/4 inch flat. So I'm going to use that. And it's a very soft brush, and it might apply this a little differently, which it does. It does make it a little different. So, kind of, oops, I gotta go back over that again. It's soft, and it kind of blends a little bit better for what we're using here. It shows up better. Just be careful of the areas like around the eye. That way. This kind of comes out a little bit. paint here. And we'll just put some lines back in with the black gesso. I'll let this dry a bit, then I'm going to come back and do another coat because I don't like the way this looks here. Too blotchy, but I need it to dry first in order to go back because I'm going to be pulling off paint if I don't. So let me go back and I'm going to put some more hair into this lion. I think we need a little bit more, and I'm going to use that number 2 flat brush. It's a Simply Simmons, and get more of this in here. I want this to look a little bit fuller here. You want to leave a little black space here, just a little space between the hair and the lion, so lion's face. There's a little bit of a dark space in through here also, so we want to keep that dark. It's a good idea not to keep your brushes in the water too long because what happens to them is they get messed up. They'll spread on you. And we don't want your brushes to get messed up. And I'm going to put a little bit of a black border in through here. We want like some of this to be black, not quite onto his head. So we want to kind of get a little bit of a black between. And as far as the other part here, I'm going to go through that again. But I do want this little black border here to cover up. Possibly get this a little thinner through here too, so he did not. So if you have problems, you can always wait till the paint dries a little bit and then just go back and finish what you need to do. Like here, I want that a little bit darker. I mean a little darker in here because I want it to be kind of even. If you can see that, I want the side, I want the face to be even. I don't want it to be goofy looking. Alright, so here we have some black. Comes down. Here we have this that's black. His eyebrows are black. This is probably getting painted in with something else too, I'm thinking. So what happens here is this kind of connects to that. And then this. Now, oops, just a head. It comes down through there. And here, come down. And I'll probably do this again too. Pretty sure I'll be doing this again. Around his eyes, it's kind of black around here. Just kind of meets like that. Okay. This is a little too much here. I'm going to have to fix that. A little too much on that side. And there's this little bit that comes down like that. This one was a little off, so it comes down like this. So I'll fix that. It's starting to shape up, I think, huh? Looks like a lion. I think we need to do that. Kind of make that lion's eyes a little small on that side. A little too big. Okay, so let me rinse this out now, and we're going to go back into that yellow oxide, and I'm going to use my little brush again, just because I like it for this. Once this dries, it'll be better too. It has to dry. Okay, let's just get that. With the dry bit, let me paint some other spots here just to get those in. Kind of brighten it up a bit. Just let that dry. Alright, I think what we're going to do, I'm not real happy with the way that paint is going on. I'm going to use my cad yellow, and I'm going to mix that up with a little, well, I'm not going to put white in it. We're going to go over it, just go over what we have here. I'm going to use a nice fine brush, nice soft brush again. I just don't like the way that's happening here. It's too, oh, that's too light. Okay, let me come back, and I'm going to get some yellow ochre. I know I have it somewhere, so let me do that. I'll be right back. Okay, so I do have yellow ochre in the Academy. I would suggest, you know, you play with the colors, see which ones you like better, what company. A lot of times, you know, it goes on nice, and then other times it doesn't go on as nice. So, you know, this is the same shade, and if you compare it, it would be the same. And I'm just going to go over this. It's a little lighter, but that's okay. I like it. It fills it in better. That's what I want. I want it to fill it in better. Especially around here, around these areas here. I'm holding my brush vertically for this. Okay, what a difference, what a difference. I just don't like the blotchiness, you know, that it gives. Now here I might use a little bit finer brush around the eyes. And we'll probably just add that spot in there. Oh, there's Sally. There she is. She came to visit. Thanks, Sally. I'm glad you're here. Keep me a little company here. Yes. And all my friends out there. So, it's all good. All good. I want the face to show up, you know. I don't want... Here we go. Alright, so we got the face that is actually showing up now. I'm going to use some of my black gesso and define some of these a little bit more. Okay. A little bit more definition here. Alright, good. Now let's see here. Your eyebrows need to be a little bit more defined. I'm thinking we're going to paint those in with something. I hope so. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know what to do yet. Still working, like trying to get this to look a little bit better. Not so gloomy looking. I guess as I work on this a little bit more, I will do what I need to do. Because right now I'm not sure. I want to leave those open, but I think I'm going to color them in with something or paint them in with something. Just to get this. And it's okay if the black does show through, because you want that to show through. But I just wasn't happy with the way that paint was going on. Sometimes, you know, you like a certain paint and it works well, and then sometimes it doesn't, so you have to move on to another paint. You want things to look decent, and that's what we're trying to do. Make it look nice. I'm going to rinse that out because I just used black in there, and then I'm going to go down here because this here should be a little bit. I'll pull it down so it goes into the hair. his little beard. Can even pull that down a little bit more because I think it comes down more like this for a lion. I'm just using a picture here and I'm trying to figure it out as we go, how we want to do it. Alright, I think what we need to do now is, well, let's see. So we got all that in. I like this like that. It's hairy. It looks nice that way. We're going to put a little bit other colors, paints through that. So we're going to use that. While we did that, we painted around the eyes. Let's get it a little bit better with our gesso. I think that'll be a little bit better here. I might actually paint a little closer here with some of that paint that we were using. I like to come down like that. Okay, because the lion's eyes are kind of like, they're set in deep, but you don't want to have them like just sitting there. So I'm probably going to go over that a little bit too. You have to think about what the eyes would look like. So I'm going to go into that pill that we used under here, just to kind of round these out a bit. Okay, good. Let's see, I put a little phthalo into that mixture. Let's see here. Just want to get those a little bit more standing out. A little bit more here. They stand out. There, that looks good now. Okay, now let me get some of my black gesso. Kind of go around here, kind of. All right, I'm going to paint in the pupils now. I'm going to get those painted in. And I am going to stick my highlights in there also, because I like highlights. They kind of give you a little bit more feeling. So I'm just using my titanium white in the back of my brush and just put a few little dots in here. Okay, that one might be a little heavy, but we'll get it. We'll fix it. Just so it shows, and then you can like streak it out a little bit. So, sort of like that. Kind of just streak it out a little. Okay. Gives a little bit more punch. Let's get that a little bit more and then we can streak it out. Okay. Maybe I'll put some more of that black in there. Kind of went a little crazy here. Wait until that dries up. We'll streak it again. Alright, so far so good. Let me get some more of this yellow ochre just to go around here. Okay, and I think I want to get this black piece right up here a little bit more. Right here. And same with this one. Okay. You have to work this, you know, you can't just, it's a little difficult when you're doing the eyes because you want those to really pop. And that's what we're trying to make, that pop out a little bit. I'm going to go back into my mixture for the eyes. Don't like this one right here. So I'm going to get rid of it. Possibly make this a little lighter too. Okay. I'll just go into this black. Make it a little bit more prominent. Boy, he's... Actually, you know what? Lions do not have pupils like this. Lions are, their eyes are different, but we'll keep it like that. Brighten it up a bit. Brighten it up. Come around here, make this tidy. Tidy it up. Tidy it up. Okay. I think here we can come in a little bit more. Oops, too much paint. Just tidy it up. Like over here, tidy it up. Okay. Good. All right. We're getting close. We're getting close to the way I want it. Just tidying up. Like I said, if the black shows through, that's okay because it gives it a little bit of dimension. All right, so what we're going to do now is we painted the eyes, we painted the pupil. Let's do the nostrils. We're going to do that in black as well. So I'm just going to get my black gesso and we're going to get this part right here. Let's get the nostrils. And we can paint around all that. I'm just using the black gesso because it's here. It's for this background and everything. And it looks good. I mean, it does what it's supposed to do. So that's what we want. Okay. Let me get more of my, I'm just rinsing out my brush, going to the yellow ochre and to paint around here where it's supposed to be painted that we didn't go too close to. In order to get that nice and the way it's supposed to be. A bit more will be on this anyway, so. Alright, so we got that nicely. Let's see, which way do I want to go? I want to get some of the brown, some brown in through the forehead here. So we're going to use some yellow and Venetian red. We'll mix some of that. Venetian red. That was this one. And that seems to work very nicely. And I think what I want to do, okay, mix some of that yellow. Let's see, Venetian red and yellow. We'll see what happens here. See how that mixes up. Use my palette knife. Might have to put some more yellow in here. That's okay, we can do that. Let's put a little bit more. These are equal parts now. equal parts of the Venetian red and the yellow. Whoops! Did you hear that? Kind of came out funny. So this is like a lighter shade of what we already put on, because we're using the yellow. And I just used my cad yellow, but that Venetian red is nice. I think that it would match up with this red oxide if you have that on hand instead of, you know, I think it would work. And this is my shade. It's sort of a lighter brown. And what we're going to do is we're going to paint in some of this on his mane. I'm just going to use what's on my palette knife here for now. And we're going to add some of this to highlight the mane also. So let's go here. We're going to put, just make sure I don't have too much here. Put some in this here. Yeah, that doesn't even show up, does it? Might have to do another coat of that. Go around here. Because it's so light, I think we need it a little darker. I'd like to have that a little darker because it's not going to show up. So let's go a little darker. Here we go. That's better. Even though we've used this already in the mane, I think it just kind of gives it a little nice shade here. It's good. That other one was just a little too light, that mixture. I didn't like that mixture that I made. This one here will give it a little bit more pizzazz. Just go into here. And maybe I'll use a flat brush to make this go on better. Let's see what I have here. Alright, I have this little one here. It's just a soft grip, 3/4 inch, short handle brush. Just kind of goes on a little smoother. You can let some of that yellow show through. We're going to actually put some of that yellow back in here. Dry brush over this part here a little bit, bringing it in, just kind of going rounded with that. And we'll probably add a little bit more of our ochre to this. Just kind of matter of fact, I just might mix a little bit of that Venetian red mixture with some of that yellow. Get it a little bit brighter here, so it doesn't look so. There we go. So yucky. We'll get that back in. those colors back in here. I like things, I mean, this lion has to be like, look like a real. I mean, we don't want it to be goofy looking. So, just gonna give it that little bit extra here. I think that looks much better. Kind of a paler brown. But I think, I mean, I'm going to probably go over this maybe with a little bit darker paint once this dries. I still want it to be a little darker. Right now it's fine. It's fine the way it is. And what we'll do is we're going to add a little bit of this, we're going to put some loose strokes of this in. I'm going to use this one here that I mixed before and just put some nice little strokes in through here. You know, nothing crazy, but we're just going to get some of that in here. And it works better for the mane. Just getting some loose little strokes. So if you're doing a loose stroke, you're not holding the brush close to the bristles. You're holding it backward a little bit. Because you want, what you're trying to do is just let the hair flow. You don't want it to be so distinctive. You're just kind of giving it a little oomph. And this actually works better on this part. That's that real nice shade that I made before. Oops, that's a little too much. It's kind of like orange, you know, so, and that's okay if I did that. I mean, I can just work it out like I did. Okay, get some up in here. But I'm going to make this much darker because I'm not real happy with that. And, you know, that's just the way an artist is. They work and work and work at it till they get something that they like. And as you get better, you start to see different things in the paintings that possibly just don't look right to you. And that just did not look right to me. Alright, so what we're going to do now, let me rinse that out. We're going to mix this up for the face because I just didn't care for that. So I'm going to mix up something a little bit darker. So what we're going to use some burnt umber. Like about 2 parts, possibly. 2 parts burnt umber. 2 parts burnt umber. I'm going to use my red oxide. I do like that a lot. So I'm going to use that. That's my red oxide from Basics. I like the shade. That's going to be also 2 parts of that. So when you're mixing parts, you just make them equally to look the same. You know, there we go. I'm running out of that. I got to get some more of that red oxide. And let's see, we'll use some yellow ochre in that also. And we're just using 1 part of that, so it's not as much. Mixing it, mixing it, mixing it. And I'm going to mix it with my palette knife. I do want a little bit more of my burnt umber in here. It's a little too light right now. So, you know, mix it that it's a little bit darker. You have to have that a little darker for this. So you'll get like a nice dark shade. Nice value, dark value. Okay. All right, now let's see if this is much, much better. Yes, much better. Like this mixture. Now, if you want this to go on a little smoother, you could add some water to the mix because it is a little dry, seems a little dry here. We want that to go on nice and smooth. That happens with paint. It gets a little dry. Acrylics especially, because acrylics dry fast. So put a little bit more water into that. Add some more water. There we go. There we go. Yeah, this mixture is just the right shade for his face. Around here, make it come around. Don't paint it straight down. Want it to come around. Some of that comes through there. Some of that comes through. It's going to get lighter anyway, so add a little bit of that into this. Now we're cooking. All right, we're going to let that dry. And I am going to get some of my red oxide. And I'm going to paint the nose. So I'm going to use a little bit of my red oxide and titanium white, which I already have out on my palette. Just a tad. We're going to paint his nose. So I'm going to make sure we get that nice. Okay. Alright, so let's get his nose painted in. And it is light. Okay, now let's see here. Get a little bit more of that time. oxide. And let's get into this area here, which is just as cute as ever. We'll get his nostrils back in a minute. I'm going to wipe that off, and I'm going to get some of my Venetian red mixture. Just kind of like lightly go over this. Lightly go over that. Just so that nose sticks out the way it should. Okay. I might even make that a little pinker. Okay, let's get back his little nostrils. I'm going to go into my gesso. Get them back in there the way they're supposed to be. This goes around there. Okay, like that. Okay. And I think I just want to kind of get some of these lines back in here, because what that is just yellow ochre. So I'm going to rinse out my brush. I'm going to wait for that to dry a little bit more. And I want to get that nose really pink. So let's see here. We can do that. I want to make it really pink. So let's see how this works here. I think it's about the same shade. Yeah, it is. It's about the same shade, but it is a little pinker. And I do want this maybe a little bit more red for the nose. That might be alright though. That might work. So we're going to wait for some of this to dry. I am going to go into my yellow ochre. Just get some of these nice little details in here. We're going to get this kind of brush that up a little bit. Brush it down. Right where the eyebrows were here. Oh, Sally's choking there. I just might wait for this to all dry a bit more, but I want to get some dimension in here. Ooh, that might be too much. Yeah, I'm just going to wait for this to dry a little bit more so I can work it better. And we'll be back. Alright, so I am going to put some burnt umber out on my palette. That's a Utrecht shade. And I'm going to mix that with some white. And I'm going to actually use this brush here. It is a number 8. And it's a bristle brush. And it's good for, I don't want to put a lot of paint on the canvas. I kind of want a dry brush. So I am going to mix that with some white. And I think this will work. Now that we got like the base color in, I think we'll be able to put sort of like a real shade that I feel that the lion is. So I'm just going to kind of go over some of these areas here with my color here, my paint. I'm going to go in here a little bit. Okay, that might just be a little too light. Let me make that a little darker. Since we're putting this on a dark background, it kind of shows up too light. And I don't want it to be too light. That's nice there, I think. Now when we go onto this, it's going to be dry brushed. So I want to kind of give an indication that there's like some brown, this dark brown coming through here. And we're just going to kind of go through this, kind of making it almost look like there's hair. Just lightly. See how I'm dry brushing this? Just getting the features, still keeping some of that darkness in there because I like that. I do like that. I'm going to actually go into this yellow area too. I want some of that to come through. This can be lighter because that kind of gives it a little bit of distinction. Now this brush holds a lot of paint, and I like that too. The fact that we're getting a lot of that in there. Oh, my phone is going crazy. A little bit crazy. I gotta just make sure it's nothing serious here. Okay, we're good. We're good. And you know, like, everything's trial and error for me. Sometimes when I'm painting, now this one I hadn't tried before, but yet I'm really enjoying the painting. And, you know, sometimes you really have to, I guess, plan ahead, but I haven't been doing that because I'm kind of low on canvas right now, so I apologize for that. And if you are having trouble seeing everything in the video, because I got like a response that on my poppy painting that up here they weren't able to see it up and through there. I do apologize for that, but my camera viewfinder has everything in it, and then when I go and publish it, you know, half that stuff gets missing, and I do apologize because I feel bad. I mean, that's just what happens with it. So I probably need a new camera, but I think this does a nice job. I like it. Other than getting it focused on in the right areas, you know. So I apologize, and if you're having a hard time seeing some of these things, let me know. Just let me know. I'm going to go in here in the ears. I want to go with some of that lighter, almost pinkish color. Ooh, that's a little dark. Just have a little pinkish color coming through here. I'll probably tame that down a little bit too. I just want to get that in there to make it look like it is, you know, a little bit of his ear shown. I'm going to be going over that again. So let's get some more of this in here. Just getting some light strokes in so they look like they're coming out of his head. We're going to put some of those up in through his ears too. But right now we just want to kind of get some of these little hairs that might be growing from his head. I think lions have a lot of different shades in them. They have the gold, they have the browns, and I just want to get some of those shades in here. I'm going to go into my yellow ochre using the same brush. I'm not even going to clean it. Just get it dry again. Kind of get some of these gold pieces in through here too. Tame this down a bit. Maybe put a little bit of this in through here. Many layers. You paint in layers. Yeah, I think you can tell that this is starting to shape up now. And that's exactly what we're looking for. So we're just going to put some of that gold in, that it makes it kind of pop out a little bit more. I have a friend, Charlie, who's up in Chicago, and he does some interesting artwork. And we've been talking today a little bit. Okay, so I want to get those ears a little bit better. Just kind of go over the light part there. Now, one of the things about lions, even though it's a cat, lions have rounded ears. They don't have pointed ears. And you have to be careful of that, because that's really important. They don't have pointed ears. Lion's ears are rounded. Blend that down in here. Blend that. So you want to make sure you keep your ears rounded. Get some like a little darker in here. Kind of get some of those dark hairs coming up. Through here. So you don't see the lines of the ears. A little more. All right. Yeah, I'm really liking the way this is turning out now. Let me get some more of that nice brown and kind of put it through here a little bit more. Some more in through these areas here. Get a couple little light ones. Maybe hit it with some of the gold, the yellow ochre. Just a few here and there. Get some longer ones out. Let's bring it all together. But I'm kind of liking the way this is starting to turn out. I hope you guys do too. I'm just making little strokes here, trying to give it some depth and making it look like this is his mane. So one of the other things you want to do is kind of squiggle some of these hairs, you know, because things are going to be a little bit squiggly on here. You know, just kind of squiggle it. Okay, I'll rinse that one out. Now I'm going to work on that nose a little bit. I'm really not happy with that nose. I want it to be a little pinker, maybe a little deeper red. So I'm going to just go into that bright red that I had. And I'm just going to paint this part right here. I want that a little bit lighter. Oops, maybe shouldn't have gone so far out there. Let me work on that a minute. See if I can wipe that off. Don't want that on there. There we go. Okay. There we go. I like that better because their nose, I think, would be a little bit brighter. Now I can go over this a little bit more with some brown, and I'll just get my brush again. And actually, you know what? There's like a little blackish going in here. Like a little separation, but I'll get that in a minute. I got to get some black out on my palette here. My black, well, that was the gesso, and it's kind of dried out. So I'm just putting some black, Mars Black. It's Winsor Newton. Putting that out on my palette. I'm not using a lot. I just want to get some of that in there. Okay, let's see. Just come around. There we go. And right here, we're going to just make a little divot of black. Kind of like to separate that. Okay. Yeah, I kind of like that, the way that is. Now, we're going to let that dry a bit. We're going to go get some white. And I think I'm just going to use that brush that I was using, because I think that worked out well. I'm going to use that. I think that's kind of what I need here. And get some white. And I am going to put it in through here. In the muzzle area here. Just lightly. You can see it. I'm just doing it very lightly. It's a, oops, not that. I'll wipe that up. It's pretty much a dry brush. And we're hitting it harder towards the nose. And then we're coming out. So you hit it a little harder here by the nose. And then just kind of brush it out. And in his little whisker down here too, we're going to add this. Kind of just bring it down. Kind of get it closer to the mouth area and then just bring it down wispy like. Very pretty. All right. Oh, he's looking really sharp. Okay. Alright, so I messed up the eyes before, and what I want to do is put another little dot in there and kind of strike it out a little bit like I did on this one. So we're just going to put that dot and kind of, if I can, bring it. Okay, I got that pupil a little too big, so I'm going to kind of get that a little bit better too. So I'm going into my yellow ochre. Now I know that probably that looks a little funny because I don't think their eyes are round, that their pupils are round like that. Alright. I'm going to highlight this a little bit more. Actually, I'm going to go back into my yellow ochre here. Kind of like highlight this a little bit more. Same here. Okay, I'm going to go into this eye here again because I want this to be a little lighter. Here. Just a little lighter. Oops, I'll have to go in my black again. And same with the other part there. I have to go up with the black somewhat. Now I'm just wiping my brush out with the with a paper towel. Okay. And we'll just kind of... Now I'm sure that it's not that black in their eyes, but it's just the way that this is painted, so we're okay with that. I'm not worried. Going back into the yellow here and getting this, because it's like that over here. Okay, going into my Venetian red, or bright red, Venetian red. Just kind of getting rid of that. Okay, now just bring some of this down. And I don't know. I think I want to, with that beige shade that I had there, I want to go back in here, kind of make some more like distinctions here. Like here, you could just kind of give it a little distinction like I did up there. And maybe right in here. Right in here. Give it some highlights. Maybe in here too, just to give it a little bit, a little personality here. Okay. Well, yeah, I like it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Now, we have to get some little dots on his face, because what we want to do, and I believe I have a nice liner brush somewhere. Yep. I just bought this, so this should work real nice for this. And what I do is I get my, I'm going to get my, well, first I'm going to put some dots in here. Like his little, you know, like where the long pieces come out of his little area here. So we'll just kind of go like this. Now when I put this on, I'm going to make this look, well, my black, I'm going to water it down and kind of make it like an ink-like consistency, because I want to be able to draw my hairs in his face here. So, and you can bring them out from some of these black marks here. So when you do this, you're going to go real lightly. You're going to hold your brush back. When you find that it's starting to lose some of the paint, go back into your paint. Okay. All right. Now let's go into the white. Let's do that with the white too. Get some white here. Same thing. Make it ink-like. Add some water to it. Be lighter hairs. Woohoo. Oops. Well, sometimes they get a little too thick, see? Need some more water. I don't know if I'll be able to get that off of there. I hope so. Add some down in here. Okay. Kind of messed up that piece. Okay, let's see if I can get this out of here. This one. Now you can wipe it off with that, or you can get a wet brush. Just kind of get it off with that. And dab it. Okay. Okay, that's good. Now let's go back into that white. Just kind of flick one in here. Okay, this has to be a little bit rounded because this hair is rounded, you know. All right, now, okay, so there's one more part here. I just want to put a little white over the nose, and I'm still using that little detail brush. And I'm going to hold my hand here so I can steady myself. All right. Just a little line here. Okay. And I actually might blend that in a little bit. I think I would want to blend that in some. There, like that. Okay. Okay. Let me get some of that brownish color that I had mixed before. And that was with my raw umber and white. I think I want to get some of that, like, so that there's not a line here in the nose area. I want that to come down. Okay. Well, I think we have a finished painting. What do you guys think? I'd like to hear your comments. You don't want to forget to subscribe and like. That helps me out. And if you want to, be notified every time I do a video, hit that little bell. Their other information will be down below in the information section. And if you want the tracing will be on my Patreon page. And if you have $1 per month, which is not a bad price, you can get the, you'll be able to get the tracings. And kind of helps you out a little bit that way if you have the tracings. And like I said, if you feel that, you're not seeing all this, please please be patient with me, because if you can't see the top part, my setup is the way it is, and I can't really change much. Unfortunate, but that's just the way it is, and I'm adding some more things here. Kind of didn't like the way that was there. So I might just go over them again, because any lines on here, you don't want to see that. You don't want to see the lines. Like here, you can see the way that the brush was going. So I'm just adding like kind of a glazing over top of this. Kind of brings it down a little bit. Kind of helps. Tones it some. Tones it down. And glazings are very important when you're doing, portraits. So I'm doing the glazing here. And this is something that you would actually use if you were doing a portrait, just to get the color correct. I think I like that glaze over that. Yeah, let's see if I can fix this. Let me get a little bit more brown. That's that raw umber. Kind of just go in here. Oh, I didn't want to go in there, that's for sure. Just kind of like bringing it around instead of having that like that. That come up. Sometimes, you know, you just need to know when to stop. But until I'm happy with it, you know, I won't stop. So that's just the way I am. Get some of that around the eye. Bring that up through there. Kind of glaze it. I think I like that better now. This one could be a little higher. I think this one here. Because that one, there's one in, oh, I see. There's one on the corner of the eye here, right here. Comes up. I want that to do that, and this one to be higher. Then you can have a little one over here so they look even anyways. Okay. I'll grab a little bit. Oh, that might not work now. Okay, so we're going to wait till that dries a bit, and I'm going to fix it. I'm going to go into my red mixture again. Kind of just put this in here a little deeper, like it is over here. And I think it might be good to use that raw, that umber, that burnt umber, kind of just to get that darker. So when I put the other one in, it'll kind of make it stand out a bit more. It's not like it's eyebrows or anything, it's just the way his mane is. And we can go here, do that here also. Kind of get those details in there. Yeah, sometimes you're just not quite done. See here. Those are like his little forehead wrinkles. I guess they have wrinkles just like we do, huh? I bet they do. I bet they do. All right. Yeah, I kind of like that now. I'm gonna mix a little bit more of my white and that raw umber, a little bit more, kind of darken it up maybe around the eyes somewhat. This might just be a little high here. We don't want it so high. Okay, I'm going to get some more of my raw umber and just kind of go around the eye a little bit here. Just blending it with my finger. I want his eyes to really stick out. I think that'll help now. Yeah, I think I like that. I hope you guys do too. And I think that's it. We'll call it a day in the life of a lion. And all you need to do now is sign it. If you want to sign it with I hope that lighting isn't too bad. Just use this little liner brush. I think we'll be able to sign it. I think I'm going to go with my yellow ochre to sign it. I think that would be perfect for this. And I'm going to get it wet, just like an ink-like consistency, just like I did with the hairs. You get it ink-like. And then you can sign it. Now let's see here. I think I'll put it right here. Now I just usually use my initials. And you can also sign this with a light pen. And or, you know, do it this way with your liner brush or detail brush. Okay. Alrighty then. I think we have a painting, and until next time, hopefully you'll come back and join me for another painting. It was fun today painting with you, and until next time, happy painting.